Hi, everyone. Welcome back to another Second Breakfast podcast. I'm Andy Roth, and in just a moment, I'll be joined by Phil Duvall for the end of another week, which, as everyone watching this knows, means it's time for another Viewer Mailbag. Very excited about the three extremely inventive questions and fun questions we have. We also have two bonus questions I think you'll be very excited about. They're really in-depth and incisive. But the three main questions we have today. What movie between Bull Durham and Field of Dreams will get me more in the mood to watch for baseball season, as it were? Question number two, what are some movies that were almost great, but there was one thing that could have been changed about them that would have put them over the top? And the last question, I don't want to spoil it too much because I think it's really great and we really get into some really sort of interesting things about the movie industry as a whole, but it's basically about a hypothetical new category at the Oscars and what Phil and I think about adding it to the roster of awards. So that's what's in store on today's Viewer Mailbag. Sit back, enjoy, and let us carry you into your weekend.
I'm so good at this. I was like waiting for you to do the intro. All right. Can you hear that, people who can't see? That's the sound. That's the sound of the mailbag. That's the sound of questions about to be answered. That's the sound of wisdom about to be imparted. That's the
working on the chain. Gang. Well, don't you know?
You know, the other problem with it is, you know that historically when you guys let me ask the questions, it's just a terrible idea.
You say that like this went down any other way than this. Hey, Andy, I can ask the questions. Do you want me to ask the questions? I'm like, sure. It's like we had to pass this by committee or something. What's the matter with you?
I don't know all the different people that you spoke to between the time that I asked the question and the time that you answered. It's completely plausible that you were checking in with our director.
You were looking at me, and I was looking back at you.
I'm not a detail-oriented guy, Andy. There's no reason for you to... Don't lawyer me. Don't lawyer me, lawyer.
Already done, dude. Already done, bro.
I think we're in good shape on these questions. Our first question today.
Yes.
Our first question today.
Please.
Andy, I feel like this question might as well have been just said, "Dear Andy." I feel like this question is addressed to you. I have an opinion, but I sort of feel like my opinion doesn't even count compared to you.
Oh, okay. That's not true.
That's how I feel right now when it comes to this. Okay, here we go. Dear Andy. This is from Blake in Oklahoma.
Hello, Blake in Oklahoma.
He lives in Tulsa.
Lovely town. Been many years since I've been there. Lovely town.
It's felt like spring here in Oklahoma, and that means baseball.
Yes.
I haven't ever seen Field of Dreams or Bull Durham. Which do I watch to get the most excited about the upcoming season? Andy, take it.
Blake, I'm glad you've come to us.
You came to the right place, son.
I think you did. I think you did. Both are excellent movies, and both are excellent baseball movies, and both are excellent movies. And you could do a lot worse than either of them, I think. But I'm going to go with Field of Dreams.
Okay.
And I'll tell you why. Because Field of Dreams is it is about what baseball means more than like any actual particular game. And if there's anything that the beginning of baseball season or the weeks leading up to baseball season embody, it is that hope. Blake, I am an Astros fan. Okay?
Oh,
I'm
man.
the one. Okay?
No, there's like two of you.
But right. We have a friend. Yes. There's at least one other. Right now, we're all 0-0, baby. You know, like it is hope springs eternal.
Yeah.
Right. And I am as excited for this season. Well, that's not true because I don't like that we're moving to the American League. But I love the return of the old uniforms. And it's another baseball season, and the Astros haven't been relevant in several years, and I love baseball. So I love the return of baseball season regardless. And Field of Dreams, and there are so many reasons for why that's true. And Field of Dreams talks about all of them. It talks about the place that baseball often holds in American families. It talks about the sort of metaphor for America that is baseball. Having said that, I do live in Durham, North Carolina.
Yeah.
And I do go to see the Durham Bulls.
And you've done work for the Durham Bulls.
And I have done work for the Durham Bulls. I could not be a bigger fan of minor league baseball and of the Bulls in particular. You're not going to go wrong with either of them. Yeah, that's it.
Well,
I've said my piece. You go ahead.
No, and I think you're onto it. I think you hit it. I mean, Blake, the thing is about Field of Dreams is that it makes you feel different. Like, it makes you believe in baseball. Yes. Like, it gets you ready to hope for not just the season upcoming. And Blake's from Oklahoma, so I mean, you don't really have a team. I mean, you may have a favorite, Blake, but it's not like the Oklahoma whatevers. Right. So it's more about the concept, the idea of baseball you get excited for. And Field of Dreams is just. By the way, this is really interesting. Both of these movies, you could see both. It's a silly idea that which one should you watch. Actually, you should do a double feature, and you should watch Field of Dreams first. And here's the thing. You could watch both with your wife.
Totally true.
Which is amazing. To find one sports movie you could watch with your wife is beyond the pale. The fact that there are two about the same sport with the same actor that came out in the same decade is fascinating. Or as they say in the Dominican Republic, fascinante.
Fascinante. The marriage between Kevin Costner and Amy Madigan is like that. Now that I'm thinking about it,
you believe in marriage. It makes you believe in marriage.
It's like the amazing film Marriage that I always forget about, but is awesome every time I think about it.
It makes you Blake. Field of Dreams makes you believe in baseball. Makes you believe in marriage. I know you have a kid, so it makes you it makes you believe in being a dad and a son. It's not fair, actually, how it is. That being said, and this is verging onto another question, and we will address it at a future mailbag. Blake made a comment to me in one of his other questions that he submitted to us in one of the other questions he submitted about how he does not like romantic comedies. He calls them rom-coms, and I think half the reason you don't like them is because you called it a rom-com. I would hate anything called rom-com. That sounds I just threw up a little bit in my mouth saying it. Yeah. I thought, ugh. But sounds romantic comedies, the great Bull Durham would be a phenomenal two birds with one stone. It is a romantic comedy that doesn't feel like a romantic comedy that you could watch with your wife and she'd be like, that was romantic, and you'd be like, whatever, we were talking about baseball. And it's hot, and it's, I mean, you're just a win-win. It's just a win-win.
That. It is never salacious or
a little salacious, but it's not
gross, but it is seriously, there are some seriously sexy scenes there.
You want to watch that one second.
You do, yes, you do.
Do a double feature. You'll get so psyched for baseball, you'll get so psyched for life, and your wife will probably kiss you.
Yes.
Which I'm a fan of that happening in life for people.
I don't know you, Blake, but I'm a fan of that happening for you as well.
I actually do have a bonus question from Blake. Are you ready? I know we don't normally do bonus questions. We actually have several bonus questions today.
Hit me.
Are you ready for it?
Mm-hmm.
How dare you? That's the bonus question.
You know what? You know what, Blake? How dare you?
The only appropriate response.
Moving on. Next question.
I have a response to the how dare you.
I'm
sorry. I shouldn't have.
No, you be strong. You be strong.
Hey, Jobs, come on! We're all just people. All right.
Next question.
Next question. From Mike. Mike.
Hello, Mike.
One of our first ever contributors.
Indeed.
And this is a good question, although, and this is I won't preface it. I'll post-loot it. But question. I know, right? This is why you shouldn't let me ask the questions. What are some almost great movies that you've seen that could have been fixed with a small change, i.e., different actor, better budget, etc.? What are some almost great movies that you've seen that could have been fixed with a small change, i.e., different director, better budget, etc.?
You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
I I want to preface our answers rather than the question.
Okay.
Mike's wife wrote in as well.
Okay.
And she commented that the whole point of our show is to talk about things we love, not things we don't love. And so she wasn't sure if we'd even want to answer this question. And I think her point is well made. We are going to answer the question, but I think that we are going to verge into some territory that's probably a little bit more snarky than we normally do. And if it works out, then, maybe we'll just take the turn for the dark side and start doing, smear ads and smear campaigns against other people.
Nice.
No, I don't.
Be like licking the blade of a machete or something. I don't know.
I don't think this is a slippery slope. I think we'll be all right in this territory.
I do too.
And I appreciate her concern. So go ahead.
Yes. Shall I go?
Please.
I don't often think about movies in these terms, but I was looking through like the top grossing movies of the past 5 years or however many years, and I came across one that doesn't fit your question, Mike, because it is not almost great, but it is worse than almost great. But the movie Green Lantern, I think it is far from great, but in terms of a change that would have made it great or close to great, I think the change actually would be pretty small, and that is a different director. Which is weird to me because Martin Campbell, he has directed 2 Bond films, both of them good. Okay. And that blends, drama and action. And he has directed, I have a list here, and he directed both Zorro movies, the first one of which was at least a lot of fun. Right. But the difference, I think what happened was none of them have the same sort of special effects. Obviously, there are special effects out the wazoo in a Bond film or in a Zorro film, but it's not the same kind of computer-generated stuff. And it never felt grounded. And the thing about Green Lantern was it didn't have a bad story. It wasn't a great story, but it was a serviceable origin story. I actually thought Ryan Reynolds was amazing. I thought he was real, and I am saying
strong word, but go ahead.
Yeah, as amazing as he could have been in the movie.
Fair enough.
And I say that only as a guy who watched the movie. I've never been a reader of the comic. Right. But I don't care, because as we've discussed, that doesn't matter. That can't really matter. Because it has to stand on its own. And I think that
stand on its own.
I think that he in much the same way that sort of Chris Evans toned down his Chris Evans-ness for Captain America, I think Ryan Reynolds did that pretty admirably for Green Lantern. And it was not unfunny. You had Mark Strong. I
feel like you're talking way too much about Green Lantern at this point.
Yeah, I think it was pretty close to being a really fun superhero movie, and it wasn't.
I would also pick Green Lantern and just say 3 words: more Blake Lively.
Oh, I would actually disagree with you on that.
What? More Blake Lively?
She's terrible.
More Blake Lively.
And there's the internet where you can go see her where she doesn't have to talk.
More Blake Lively. That's not my actual answer. My answer is more Blake Lively. My answer is Heat.
Ooh.
Heat. Heat is probably almost even a great movie anyway. That's how good Heat is.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm going to say here? You think you do? Al Pacino's performance in that movie is one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life. It is worse than a paper cut.
Wow.
And it's so disappointing because to me, literally every other aspect of that movie is, if not perfect, really close to it.
Okay. And
there was this big build-up to the first time De Niro and Pacino were on screen together facing each other. And that actual scene was okay because it's like the whole time in the movie, Pacino's like, ah, 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 like the whole time. He's talking, he'll just be talking and be like,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he'll just be like, it's just stupid. And then the one scene he's with De Niro at the beginning and the scene at the end is beautiful.
Yes.
But the one scene they're in the coffee shop together, it calms Pacino. It's almost like De Niro, who at that point was at the height of his powers, dog whispers Pacino.
Totally.
gets him like, all right, enough of your fooling around. Let's actually act. That's how it felt.
Right, sure.
And it showed me what that movie could have been. Now, you've got to understand that I own Heat. I think I owned it on VHS, DVD, and Blu-ray. I love Heat. Okay. It's got one of the greatest action sequences of all time. There are issues with the ending, but I can deal with it. It is, to me, a brilliant, brilliant movie. But I feel like no one considers Heat a great movie. It's not listed under the classics, and I think a big reason for that is that was a role that could have been much more amazing had Pacino just settled down, played it differently, or if someone else did it altogether.
Interesting.
I think it actually makes that big of a difference. And it's really frustrates me. I have another answer as well.
Real quick about Heat before you move on. You know what? You want to know how much I enjoy that movie, which I didn't see in the theaters. I didn't see until within the past 5 years, actually.
Do tell.
I didn't absolutely hate Diane Venera in that movie, and she is terrible in everything.
Which one is she? That was a mean thing, but who's she?
I know. I don't like being this mean, but I
Who is she in Heat?
She's the woman. She's the woman. She's the woman that... Is it Pacino's?
Wait, Pacino's woman?
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go. That whole subplot. At least it has Natalie Portman. Because otherwise... So that's his Diane...
Oh, she's awful.
I feel sad that we're saying this. Oh, yeah, she wasn't terrible in that movie.
She was not terrible in that movie.
I have to look at what else she's in. I don't have a big opinion on her, to be honest with you. So, okay.
Other movie.
I'm about to say something that you're going to think is really awful.
Okay.
I feel bad saying it.
I don't believe you do.
The special effects for Army of Darkness have not held up. And I know, I'm sorry. And I wish that I think Sam Raimi's a really interesting case because Evil Dead 1 didn't have a budget, and to some degree Evil Dead 2 is like what they would have done had they had the budget for Evil Dead 1.
Okay.
Likewise, Desperado is sort of like, if I had really had a budget for El Mariachi, I would have made Desperado for Robert Rodriguez.
Okay.
Army of Darkness still made... I love it. It's amazing. It's brilliant. But I almost feel like it could be... like... The special effects just look really, really, really cheesy now. Like, I don't know. I'm sorry. I take it back.
I mean...
Your face says more than words could ever say.
No. I mean, look... I would love everything to be like on the level of like Gollum, right?
No, but here's my thing is I don't feel like every movie that was made before the last 10 years is a failure. I think there are I think movies should work within what they have. And I think that movie like reaches past its ability, and that's why like you work with what you got.
It's just so interesting that you say that, not because I disagree with you about anything you just said, but because I disagree with you about that movie specifically. I think the special effects, are they good special effects? No, but within the movie, within the world the movie sets up, I think they actually hold up pretty well. I watched it just a couple months ago, actually, and I think it's your world. I'm just living in it.
There's one other... I wish that it was my world. Then you would pick Rent. Then there's one other thing I just realized. There's one other thing I need to say.
Okay.
By the way, did you buy The Godfather on Blu-ray just now when it was on sale?
Yes.
Okay, good. But for those of you listening, Andy's only ever seen The Godfather Saga, which is like 1 and 2 that are interspliced and changed so that it's all chronological order instead of the actual order of Godfather 1 and 2 the right way. Andy, who calls himself a movie fan, has never actually seen Godfather 1 in it's the way it's supposed to be seen. So I'm glad you're correcting that. You're a better person, hopefully soon. But in the meantime, there's a scene where James Caan as Sonny Corleone is beating up his sister's husband. And
Sonny Corleone, The Godfather, doesn't ring a bell. I hate you. Go on. The scenery's beaten up. Yeah, go for it. Go ahead.
It's just a really badly done, choreographed scene, and you can see him punching him and him not hitting him. And it's problematic because Godfather might be the greatest film of all time. That's why it's problematic. Is that this might be the greatest film of all time, and the fight scene is not believable, and you have everything else about that movie's done so well. How did you not get a shot of him? How did you get a shot of him like missing his face? It's like, and then how did you let that shot be in there?
Right? How was that? Did you only do one take?
That movie is so good that Talia Shire is good in it. That's how good it is. So, anyways.
You shut your mouth about Adrian.
Whatever. Anyways.
I don't even know who you are. Who are you? Prank caller. God, you ask the questions and it all goes to
Moving along to the third question. Oh, wait, I have a bonus question from Mike.
Bonus question.
Bonus question from Mike.
So not the third question yet. Bonus question.
Bonus question from Mike.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Movies, right? That's the question.
I got two. Ask me again.
Okay. Movies, right?
I know, right? All right. No. Okay. One more time. Ask me again.
Okay. Movies, right?
Tell me about it.
Nice.
Huh?
All right. I have one.
I'll do you. Phil.
Yeah.
Movies, right?
Right.
Nice.
That's mine.
Well done.
That's all. That's
done.
what I got. Yeah. Okay. There you go, Andy. There's your bonus question, Mike. Okay. To wrap up our mailbag, oh glory, and I think this has been lovely so far.
Yes, I very much enjoyed it.
This is a long form question, folks.
Okay. Right.
Here we go. This is really a good question. This is from a longtime listener, Andrew, who asks, not you, by the way. It's a different Andrew.
It's not from me? Oh,
it's not from you.
Thank you for clarifying that.
Acknowledging that it will never happen, what do you think about adding a most creative film category at the Oscars? That's not the whole question. It's so much longer. It would be a category that acknowledges films like Django Unchained and Moonrise Kingdom, which are too offbeat to overcome the usual Oscar stolidness, as well as films like, $2 word, as well as films like Cabin in the Woods or The Avengers that are probably too popcorn to merit attention from the Academy, but still represent something unique and memorable. The move up to 10 Best Picture nominees seemed to be a nod to these movies, but they have still been largely neglected in practice. Most creative film category at the Oscars.
Okay.
What do you think?
The first thing I want to say is I'm going to take issue not with Andrew or your question, Andrew, but the move up to 10 Best Picture nominees seemed to be a nod in these movies. No, it didn't. They still have yet to give any sort of rationale for that other than we think there are more movies that... Oh, my God. There's nothing good about that. Zero good.
There is nothing good about it, but the only rationale I've heard about it that makes sense to me, even though it's not a good rationale, is once a movie... It gives them an opportunity actually to nominate more movies that... when a movie gets nominated for Best Picture, more people will see it, and it actually gives exposure to some movies that might not other get exposure if they're like the 6th best movie on the list or something like that.
Okay,
listen,
right.
I'm not saying it's right. Okay,
but that's not how they're doing it. That's not how they.
No, I think to some degree they might be, but that doesn't matter.
But okay, and my answer. So here's my answer, and it actually plays into my answer. My answer is, sure, great. Let's throw because you know what isn't bloated and long enough already? The Oscars telecast.
Yeah.
But I don't dislike it as a category. I think the execution would be pretty problematic. I would be worried. Here's what I'd be worried about. It would always go to like a special effects movie. I don't think they would look at something like Moonrise Kingdom and nominate it for Best Creative Film. I don't think they would look at something as like Django Unchained and put it in that category. And even if they did, I would worry that it would become something like Best Animated Film, which in many ways is just an excuse not to nominate deserving movies for Best Picture.
Right.
Having said that, you got it. I mean, I want to recognize creative films. That's
the whole point of it. See, this is okay. Here's the deal, Andrew, you got a good heart.
Yeah, he does.
You got a good heart, kid.
Yep.
This is a sweet question. It's a terrible idea. It's stupid. And here's why. Buddy. Listen, I love you. I don't know you, but you're. Come on. I want to hug you right now for the sweetness of your awful question. Here's why. For first of all, it's an acknowledgement that the movies that are nominated for Best Picture aren't creative, so it doesn't work.
That's
the
true.
idea, it's like, can you imagine if you were like an artist and you won for Best Painting, and then but the guy next to you won for Most Creative Painting? You'd be like, screw you, I think. Like, it would be really, or the idea that, I mean, if one got nominated for both, I mean, it doesn't work, because the idea is that the Best Picture should be creative. It's a creative endeavor, and it also if you don't get nominated for Most Creative Film, then the idea is like, well, you don't get nominated.
Hollywood enough for Best Picture.
You were an objectively good film, but not so creative. I wish I was more creative. It actually, Andy brings up the Best Animated Film. I think it's a terrible category that should be gotten rid of. And I think the development of trying to get from 5 to 10 is a terror. It's like the DH in baseball. It's like, I get what you were trying to do. You just were trying to do something stupid, and you went about it the wrong way. Okay, like, get your lives together and stop ruining things. The great thing about the Oscars is the way they are traditionally is already terrible. So we don't need to keep trying to fix it. It is the Oscars are what they are. And this is what's great about them. And great and terrible. We argue about them. We get like, I have a friend who's a writer in Hollywood, and he's one of my best friends. We talk about this stuff, and I've expressed my frustration to him, and he just said, but it's the benchmark. And his sort of thing was like, and the best part is it is old school and stolid and all that, and then you get to argue with it. But it's there. It creates the standard.
That's fair.
That you get to argue with and hate and blah, 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 blah. But it makes sense. I would say, beyond that. So we need this. We need the Oscars we don't need them. It's stupid. Awards for creativity are stupid.
Agreed.
But we want them. Andy and I did our own lists, even though we alphabetized them instead of ranking them. We still narrowed it down to say these are. So this is what people want. We do this. But, Andrew, here's the thing. If you want to think like that, I have 2 suggestions for you, okay? For awards that are doing what you're talking about but aren't Oscars. I humbly submit to you, are you ready for this?
I'm probably not. Go ahead.
The MTV Movie Awards.
Nice.
And the Independent Spirit Awards.
Nice. I like that. I like both of those.
If you look at the movies that were nominated, go through and look at Best Picture at a year of the movies that were nominated, and you'll get your artsy-fartsy movies, but you will then... Okay, so let me give you an example. The first year that there were... Or no, let me do the year... You're going to like this, okay? The year Pulp Fiction was nominated.
Okay.
The year Pulp Fiction was nominated.
Yeah.
So 1990... For the year 1994, Forrest Gump, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Pulp Fiction, Quiz Show, Shawshank Redemption. Now listen to the MTV Movie Awards.
Okay.
You ready for it?
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction, which won? The Crow, Forrest Gump, Interview with the Vampire, and Speed. Now you can laugh at that list, but Speed and The Crow were incredibly influential.
That's true. You're right.
Now skip over to the Independent Spirit Awards. Pulp Fiction, Bullets Over Broadway, Eat, Drink, Man, Woman, Mrs. Parker and the Vicious Circle, Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Wow.
So then if you look at that, you just leave the Oscars as they are, but then go to these other movie genres. And the MTV Movie Awards are ridiculous. The last 4 movies to win Best Picture at the MTV Movie Awards, and I have issues about how MTV Movie Awards are now, but the last 4 movies to win are all Twilight films. So there's problems. Look at the other movies that were nominated. You have this past year, you had Breaking Dawn Part 1, which won, but you also had Bridesmaids, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, The Help, and The Hunger Games. Again, a fairly realistic sort of look.
Sure.
And then okay, here's another year. You're going to love this. This is going to blow your mind. Okay? 1993. This is our wheelhouse. I also think it gives us a little bit of distance so we can think about it more. We're not so... Schindler's List.
Yeah.
This is the Oscar nominees for 1993. Schindler's List, which won? The Fugitive, In the Name of the Father, The Piano, The Remains of the Day. That same year for the MTV Movie Awards, The Fugitive, Jurassic Park, Menace to Society, Philadelphia, and Schindler's List. And the Best Picture award, Popcorn MTV Award, went to Menace to Society, which was it's actually, I haven't seen it. There's definitely a gap in my transcript. Is a very influential gangbanger flick in a time when those movies like Colors and then Boys in the Hood and then Menace to Society is apparently just phenomenal. But you also have Jurassic Park getting mentioned.
Sure.
Which is, I mean, come on. Independent Spirit Awards for that year. Shortcuts, Equinox, which I don't even know what that is, no. Much Ado About Nothing, Ruby in Paradise, The Wedding Banquet. So if we look at these three, you start to get a bigger picture of like what we're actually.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. I like that a lot.
Look, I think you need to bring the Academy Awards back down to 5. Don't get rid of the animated. Get rid of the animated category. Don't add anything. Let it be what it is. It's old school. It's the old guard. That's the point. And yeah, you're going to get mad at it, but that's just part of the deal. You know? Yeah. By the way, you could, people, if you're the kind of person like I am, you could go along and you could pull up the Wikipedia pages for the Academy Award Best Movies, MTV Best Movies, and Independent Spirit Best Movies, and go year to year, and it's a blast. It's a blast. The first movie ever to win Best Film for the MTV Movie Awards?
Yeah.
Terminator 2, Judgment Day.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, but seriously, like, argue with that. You can't. Like, the movie that actually won that year was, oh, never mind, I take it back.
What?
No, the movie that won that year was Silence of the Lambs. So fair enough.
Fair enough. Right.
Terminator 2, Backdraft, Boys in the Hood, JFK, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Those are the first.
Wow. I mean, all of those are great.
Fascinating.
So yes, that's true. Just to put a bow on the actual question, I think the problem is everything that Phil just said. Like, there's no way to define it in a way that isn't horribly insulting to either the movies that do get nominated or the movies that don't, right?
Right.
And it can't just be, oh, these movies are fun, because what does that mean? And I actually think, well, first off, I'm horrified at the amount of research you did for this question. Kudos. I'm agog at that.
By horrified, you mean amazed and awed and yeah. Understood.
Yes, it is. Odd is something that's in my head right now. Anyway, I
see what you did just
there. See what I did there?
Yeah, see what you did there.
Homophone. It's not a good idea, Andrew. I love you like a brother. It's a bad idea. But as Phil said, we both kind of want to give you a hug.
I mean, this just reinforces the point I've made in past podcasts for my friend Andrew. Marrying up. Just marrying up. I mean, woo!
Is that it? We have anything else?
There's no bonus question from Andrew. I think we're all done for our mailbag. I want to say one last thing. It is Super Bowl Sunday this Sunday.
That's true.
And apparently they haven't covered this at all. This has been very, very under wraps. But apparently the coaches of the two teams are brothers.
That's
no one's talking about it. But they're actual brothers. Who you pulling for here, Andy?
For any number of reasons, I'm pulling for Baltimore. I just want a good game, but I'm pulling for Baltimore.
You changed your answer. You said San Francisco the first time we talked.
Yeah, but that was just because I used to pull for San Francisco back when I was a kid because I liked Joe Montana. There wasn't anything behind that. Montana. Yeah. But yeah, I'm pulling for the Ravens now.
Okay, I also am pulling for the Ravens for some of the same reasons as you, but also for different reasons. And I'm pulling for the Ravens this Sunday. And I think that's it. I hope everybody has a really wonderful weekend.
Yeah, right.
Wouldn't that be great if you did?
Totally.
We're glad
enjoy
for
your
you.
Saturday, and then have a great time eating terrible food and watching a really long football game that you probably don't actually have a rooting interest in.
It's true.
But
if I hear, I want to. What's the over/under on how many times you're going to hear? I don't like the game. I just want to watch for the commercials.
I'm actually going to a party at a friend's house who doesn't care if you talk during the game, but doesn't want anybody to talk during the commercials. So I'm going to guess a lot.
I wouldn't go to that party. I would go to a different party. Is what I would do. I think it's going to be me and my father-in-law on the couch with homemade nachos and just being like, he'll actually yell at the TV during the game. It's going to be pretty glorious.
That sounds fantastic.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. So,
all right.
Happy
weekend, everybody. This has been another Second Breakfast Viewer Mailbag. We're not going to let Phil touch the questions again. You're getting better, buddy. You're getting better.
That's how you do that.
Yes, that's how you do that. Have a great weekend. I'm Andy Roth. That's Phil Duvall. We'll see you again real soon. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.